knowing this that his woman, his wife, is a fighter. He, was he like did like role reverses like Adrian? You can't do it, Courtney.
No.
Yeah.
When we met, he actually thought that so he's a former special ops marine, so he's very alpha like kind of guy, and he thought that I was gonna be too much of an alpha female for him, like, he thought our personalities were gonna clash. But no, he trains, his training for Krav Maga and stuff like that. And it's funny because we'll be horsing around and I'll get in his face and I'll be like, "You want to go?" And he's like, "Let's go." And I'm like, "All right, let's do it." And then, we'll put gloves on, we'll go outside and we'll spar, just for practice and stuff like that. And then he's like, "Damn, you're fast." I'm like, "But that's the point. I don't want to get hit. Like, I got to hit and move, and do damage and take little damage." And, but he's super supportive. He loves it. He just doesn't like when I get hurt, obviously. My whole family's like that.
Yeah. Like,
So.
what's your family? Like your parents and your other siblings, how do you feel about you being a fighter?
Um, so my dad loves it. He's super supportive. He's always at all my fights. He's like, you're doing something that you love and it's, you're staying healthy while you're doing it. And he's like, I think it's great. My stepmom is a nurse and so she watches, like this. But she's always there sitting right next to him. My mom, she always would watch like the day after and she would not like watching me get hit. Unfortunately she passed away a few years ago, so she never got to see the bare knuckle aspect of it, but I know she'd be like, "What are you doing? Why are you're getting hit with no gloves?" Like, but she would be super supportive too.
Well,
Yeah.
my condolences. My mother passed away a few years ago too. It's going to be the end of this month. It's been going to be 6 years, and I know it's
Okay.
tough, to lose someone like that, especially for us boys. You have a son, and
Yeah.
all mothers, you are most perfect, potent, and most important woman in our lives.
Yeah.
Girlfriends and wives can come and go, but we lose a mother can never replace it. And to your husband, he serves our country. He as a double dog. I don't say thank you for your service. I say to him, I say, sir, I appreciate the sacrifice you have made for this country, and it's good. The next time you say, "You ready to go?" He might say, "Ready to go?" Okay, no, but it's
Yeah.
good that you have that support because I talk to women saying, especially when they get to sports like either bodybuilding or mixed martial arts or just any kind of combat sports because it's very traditionally male dominated. It's
Yeah.
always a concern, like especially your stepmom sitting there. She could be a quarterman. You got a nurse right there. And your dad, that's pretty good because I don't know, say, baby, I don't want you to look like Leon Spinks with the nose, but
Yeah.
it's good that you get that.
Yeah, my dad, I'll call him up, or go visit him a couple days after my fights. And have you seen the movie Ted? Where they put Ted back together in his face and kind of put some stuffing in some wrong spots. I'll be like, "Hey, Dad, I think my face is a little messed up." You know.
Another thing episode of Martin when he fought Tommy Hearns, and afterwards he says, "Did the swelling go down?" So his face is all
Yeah.
jacked up. Yeah, but you know what? This is a sport that's been around for quite some time. It's getting a lot of popularity. We've seen crossovers. We've seen fighters coming from mixed martial arts and boxing. You
Hmm.
think it's getting worldwide?
Hmm. Yeah, it is. It's definitely gaining traction very quickly. They say bare knuckle is the fastest growing combat sport. And I agree. Like, it's getting a lot of eyes on it, especially the more relevant it becomes, the more people are seeing, like, I actually did a like little sponsorship thing at one of the local restaurants the other night. And I took my big belt in there, and people came up to like, "What is that belt for?" And my manager's like, "Oh, she's the world champion bare knuckle fighter." And they're like, "Wait a minute, what?" And so they wanted to sit there and converse about it. And the guy's like, "Bare knuckle, really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, like, it's actually safer on your brain than gloved boxing." I was like, I can get concussed sparring in the gym, with gloves. Out of my four bare knuckle fights, I've never been concussed. I got concussed in MMA fights, Um, but the more I think the word spreads, the more people get introduced to it, the more that they see that the damage is, yes, it's bloody, it's gruesome, it's all superficial. my hands, my face look like smashed asshole the next day and for the next few days afterwards. But it heals so quick. Like, my training partner, Kat, she did her eye and her face got really swelled up after her last fight, and she did like a week progression video. And in 1 week, it's amazing how much the human body will heal itself if you take care of it. So, yeah, I think that just the more exposure that it gets, because, and people learn about it and they understand why we do it, and, that the risks are there, right? You think you're going to screw up your hands. I've never broken a hand. I've had some pretty serious swelling and some knuckle stuff where I thought my hands were broken. Um, but I've never broken them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think definitely just getting people more educated on the sport is just going to keep growing like crazy.
Yeah, like the other guy said, sometimes there's things that if they make you stranger, they make you stronger.
Yes.
I like violence. I'm an agent of chaos. I love dynamite and gasoline. But yeah, that's the thing is that the human body is amazing. I tell you right now, you'll be 40, I'll be 51 in November. I got two bad knees. I Stone Cold Steve Austin. I got issues with my shoulder. I got a pacemaker. Hey, I used to work two jobs, and that was the tough part about it. But it's good that you found your path in something that
Mhm.
you love. That's the thing is about this. You have to like I talk to ladies who do bodybuilding and tell me there's not a lot of money in it. It's not a lot of it's not as real popular compared to other sports, but they do it because they love it. That's
Mhm.
the thing is you got to find something about anything you love in life and just stick to it. How you think? How long you feel like you want to do this? Especially now you're going to turn 40. You're not a spring chicken anymore.
Right.
Your baby's getting older.
Yeah. So, originally when I started fighting, I never thought I would go pro as a fighter. Um, but I always, because I started so late in life, I went pro at 36. And my goal was to always fight until I was 40, right? Like, I was like, as long as my body does okay, I want to fight at least until I'm 40. Now that we're approaching that, it's it's a fight by fight thing. I promised my kids that as I got older, I would listen to my body, and when my body said it was time to be done, then I would step away and be done. So right now, I'm just taking it fight by fight to kind of see, if I'm still progressing, if, I keep getting better each fight, because I'm eventually going to cross somebody that's younger and faster and more hungry. And I've seen a lot of people go out against these young guns, and their last fight they get completely annihilated, right? I don't want to do that. I want to go out with my head held high on my own terms. um but I kind of, it's hard to walk away from because you love it so much. So I'm going to ride it until the wheels fall off, and then hopefully before both wheels fall off I can exit.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Rocky Four where he says, "I'm a fighter. That's all I know." And that's the
Yeah.
thing is a lot of fighters don't have an exit plan. Sometimes you just keep fighting to the
Mm,
point to their like nearly vegetable level where
right.
they can barely talk or their hands and everything. Like it's a sport where it's a sport of true human endurance.
Mhm.
Mano a mano, man on man, woman on woman, skin to skin. You
Yeah,
know.
I actually do have a great exit strategy plan set up, because so I have my normal 9 to 5, but um I was talking with Derek, and he's like, what are you gonna do when you retire? And I was like, I don't know. I don't even want to think about it, because how do you walk away from a sport that's such a huge part of you? And he gave me this idea. It was a few years ago, and I was like, that is the worst idea ever. I don't What are you talking about? And I'll get to what it is here in a second, cuz I sat on it and I stewed on it, and I was like, this is a stupid idea. And then one day it hit me, and I was driving, and I thought about it for a minute. I'm like, this is the greatest idea ever, right? It is to manage female fighters. There are so many male managers in such a male dominated industry, right? That and a lot of the times us as women get taken advantage of by some of these shitty managers or fanagers, guys that have never fought before a day in their life. They don't know what it's like, and they're men, they're not women. So being a female fighter, being a world champion female fighter, there's no former female fighters that are managing female fighters. And I was like, dude, it makes sense. And I've talked to a lot of the girls that, I train with, girls that are making their amateur debuts, and I'm trying to help them get established and get rolling. And they're like, you're really good at this. I want to sign with you. And like every coach I've talked to about it, everybody I've talked to, they're like, dude, that is an amazing idea. So that is my exit strategy when I decide to retire is I will have a management company strictly for female fighters.
That's great because you know what, women they do. Here's the thing about women. Sometimes people take advantage of because you're just a female, yada yada yada. There's guys out there who can be a little bit weird,
Mm-hmm.
because they feel like, especially as you know, these sports. If you look at it, men are going to like I talked this about bodybuilding. Like in bodybuilding, it's a bunch of guys in board shorts and banana hammocks. They make
Mm-hmm.
a good chunk of change. But the women don't make as much because the fact is it's not seen as popular by the standards of everybody else. And that's the hard thing. Like you look at one fight I always wanted to see happen was uh Ann Brown Sugar Wolf versus Layla Ali, but they never happened because of the issue about the money. And people say like, we don't want to see that, but people want to see it. But if you have something that really works for you and for those other ladies, I would say go ahead and do it. Hey, you give your husband a big kiss and say, "Thank you, baby. You gave me an idea."
I
Don't be saying it's stupid.
Oh no, I did. I tell him it was stupid so many times. He's like, "I just think about it." I'm like, "That is a ridiculous idea." And then I called him up one night and I was like, "Okay, I just want you to know I just thought about your idea and it makes sense and I think it's a great idea." And he goes, "Okay, thank you." And so I've been brainstorming and putting things together, like trying to get all my little pieces in place so that, everything's ready to go when the time is right. Even down to my friends and my teammates, I'm helping them get matched up for their fights and stuff. So I just got my friend, she's making her amateur debut this weekend on Friday. And I was like, listen, I would love to represent you like from day one until you're done fighting. And she's like, dude, I'd be stupid to not sign with you. Like, I want you to take care of me through my career. And I was like, all right, cool. Like this is going. And her fight, we ran into a couple of snaggles along the way and we were able to navigate through them. And it's a learning process for me right now too, because I know how I handle things, but I don't know how other people handle things. So getting my feet wet and learning from my friends and my teammates, about what to do or what not to do, or you know how to just navigate some of the challenges of you know the blood work and the medicals and the applications and all these things. It's been really cool.
Yeah. To quote one of my favorite movies is Batman Begins, and the
Mhm.
quote Liam Neeson played Ra's al Ghul in the movie says, "Beware of surroundings at all time. Never give up short fooling for a killing blow." And what you're doing is good. I would say it's good, especially for the standpoint for a fighter that's a woman or female. You might want to say it. And opportunities are there. It's just that you have to be able to want to take that risk.
Mhm.
You have to step on the edge and see if you want to jump off or just hold on to the rope a little longer.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I'm hoping that everything will go, from fighter to manager in like a smooth timeline transition. I'm hoping that the timing will all line up really good. And uh yeah, I'm just hoping it'll play out as it should.
And one thing is also sponsorship does help, especially for a
Yes.
fighter. Because you have sponsors?
I do. So I have a handful of sponsors that sponsor every fight that I've had for, the last 3 or 4 years. Um, And then I have new sponsors that just jump on board. But it's building up good working relationships with them so that, in the future, if I have, a girl that needs a sponsorship, I can be like, okay, cool. I have this person. Let's get you in contact with them and see what they can do to help you out. Or, I've was fortunate enough for this camp that I got sponsored by Whitney Johns and all of her supplement line. So, having that resource because I've not had a good supplement sponsor in a while. So, um, being able to use her products, try her products and see what works and then, pass that information along. So where if I have a girl that's like, hey, like, dude, I could really use a supplement sponsor, I'd be like, okay, cool, great. I worked with this person. She was fantastic to work with. Let's get you in contact with her too. So
So Whitney Jones, right?
Whitney Johns, yeah.
Whitney Johns. Oh, I'm thinking
Yeah.
Whitney Jones. She's a bodybuilder. Actually, she does fitness, but that's good. Sponsor does help, and
Yeah.
and guys who are out there who wants to, genuine interest in sponsoring or helping out, Khortni or any of her fighters, reach out, let her know. But guys, don't be that weird guy. I know you saw the video where she's getting her titty banged. No, no, we're not gonna do that. No, no. Come on, guys. Have some common sense. Have just generally reach out to these women and have with a genuine plan of interest and support.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna ask you two more questions.
Okay.
If you had a chance and it was opportunity to fight a fighter, any fighter in any organization, and it's bare knuckle, who would you want it to be?
Any fighter, bare knuckle. Let me expand this one a little bit because, like, I know one fight that I would love to make. It was offered to me before, but I had to decline because of work obligations. But I would absolutely love to fight Helen Peralta. I think she's an absolute beast. And it's a fight that makes me really excited because of the level